Fantastic.
We're live. Okay, so we're live. So we just heard the bill from Representative Lalonde. So, but Tom's gonna like briefly, Tom, where did he go?
Right there.
Oh, there he is. So briefly, the section, April 1, deadline.
So last night when I explained the bill, it's one of those bills where a yes is a no and a no is a yes, and there was some confusion over it. So real briefly, if the body votes no on this bill, April 1st, raise the age goes into effect. Plain and simple. If the body votes no, raise the age goes into effect. If the body votes yes, it's extended out a little over 2 years. And we want that extension to go out the 2 years. Because again, if we vote no and it goes into effect, the battle is done, the battle is over. With a yes vote, it extends out 2 years to fight another day. It's that simple.
So now we're gonna explain the amendment, which is to this part of the section of the bill only. The other sections remain the same, but the part that Tom just explained, we're attempting to just keep it the status quo of 18 years old from here on out. That's what this amendment is trying to do. So Zach and Eric as an amendment.
Do you want me to? Yeah, so I'm happy to speak on. So I think one of the things that I would tell all of you is to not think of this as a repeal, because to repeal, to go back to 18 in the view of myself and also the legislative council that's looked at this, there would be a constitutional challenge. So one of the things that we're not looking to do is to do a full repeal. What we're simply looking to do is sunset step 2 of raise the age and to keep the age at 18. You heard in Chair Lalonde's testimony, a few minutes ago up on the floor, that DCF, almost all the testimony that we received is saying that the system is bursting at the seams to raise the age to 19. And I get the predicament that we're all put in because we're essentially held hostage, like to what Tom just said is, yes is a no and a no is a yes. But the way that I would consider this amendment is thinking of one, protecting DCF and the burden that they have. It's one, the earlier sections in the bill, and if you look at sections 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which section 1 is moving the age up from 10 to 12 for individuals to be prosecuted. Vermont is still really an anomaly in that. So if you look at Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, the bottom of the threshold is age 13. So I, as someone on the committee, I'm fully supportive of 10 to 12. If you look at number 2, it is simply saying that if someone has, if offender has committed a crime at the age of 18, it allows the Division of Family and Children and the family court to have an additional 6 months of discretion over that individual so they don't age out of prosecution and accountability. So I think that's something that we would all be very supportive of. The reason that we have to keep sections 3 and 4 in place, and I'm going into the granularities just so that you all understand, and I can answer any questions, is we're keeping 3 and 4 because that is actually what the repeal is going back to Act 125 and what the legislature has voted on previously delay. So really, this is the third delay of raise the age. In my view, and I think many in this room, and even some Democrats that have told me that they're supportive of this, and we'll see what happens on the floor in a few minutes to see how supportive they actually are. But we have to hold perpetrators accountable, but it also is keeping things at the status quo. And I think this amendment does a very nice job of striking a compromise between our caucus and our friends across the hall.
I think, if I may, I'm fully in support of the amendment. I think it's a great amendment. It'll put this to bed finally, something we've been struggling with, I guess you could say, since 2018. And starting in 2018, and this is the third bite at the apple that they've tried to get this implemented. what's that? That's 7 years that DCF has not had the resources to get this implemented. They don't have, I mean, we could certainly get them the money, but they don't have the people to take care of the age group that we're looking at. So in essence, again, if this passes, we're gonna take those 18, 19-year-olds and we're gonna put them in a room that's empty. Because there's nobody in there to give them the help. So, and that's the big thing. Again, I'm gonna repeat myself, but DCF does not have the resources, and I don't believe they ever will. And the big reason I don't believe they ever will is because during COVID, every industry and every, in the United States is short workers. And state government is no different. And one thing that I looked at is during COVID, the baby boomers aged out over the last 5 years. And the baby boomers is where the biggest number of employees were, and they aren't coming back. You know, they took early retirements or they just plain old retired and that type of thing. So in 2 years, when we look at this again, unless hopefully this amendment passes, I don't think that DCF is still gonna have the resources. I mean, there's a study in there to, you know, to try to get them to go toward that, but that's the big problem is we just don't have the people to take care of
I just wanna-
that age.
I just want to piggyback on Tom's point is throughout all, I mean, we had heard testimony ad nauseum and not a single person who came to testify before the committee had any guarantee or any go forward look on how we could prepare DCF for the intake of 19-year-olds. There's no plan. I mean, it truly is the most broken system. And I mean, I'm just echoing what Tom is saying, but it's, I mean, you would think with all the testimony that the committee had received on this, hours and hours upon weeks, when we could have been tackling, you know, the governor's omnibus plan and public safety on a broader scheme, we were taking testimony on this, and there is no plan to go forward. So if we don't have the guarantees now, what is going to change in 2027?
Michael,
Can you just go for us, newbies, go through, the amendment will be offered, we're gonna wind up voting yes for that.
so we'll roll call the amendment and we should be voting, you know, I never tell you how to vote, but I will be voting yes on the amendment. My assumption is it will fail, but one can only hope. If it does pass, then
We're done.
it gets rolled into the bill and I will vote yes on the bill. If the amendment fails, I will still vote yes on the bill because if we don't vote yes on the bill, this becomes law, raise the age becomes law in 3 weeks. If the bill passes with or without the amendment, you know, if it passes without the amendment, it gets an additional 2 years until raise the age happens. So I will be voting yes on the amendment, which will be roll called, and I will vote yes on the bill.
And if I may,
Yep.
as with all bills, if we pass them out of the House, they go to the Senate. And the Senate is fully aware of what the House has done and probably will make no changes. So and it had to be done that way, where there was a lot of communication because of the short timeline.
Okay, Ann. Are you done? Excuse me, Michael, are you finished? Michael, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Ann.
you.
Just to point out, I think most people know that if you're building any kind of a facility, it like takes a long time from planning, land, construction, and so forth. And it's been announced and it's clear that the youth campus, so to speak, that's now being developed is only going to be for up to 17. So there remains not only no capacity for any child who's 18 or 19, but even 18, there's no capacity for a secure location for them if they are a child under DCF. There is nothing. And even with 2 years, I mean, 2 years, you remotely would not have something built and able to move forward. And the bill that adds all this reporting on red clover is irrelevant to the issue. Red clover is only to age 17. That's the temporary facility while the development. There isn't even a temporary facility.
Anyone else, Sandy?
So to get this straight, so the amendment will come first, and then we'll be by roll call and we should be voting yes or okay. And then it will go to the bill and we vote yes because that is really a no vote. That's fine.
Correct.
Whether the amendment passes or not, the bill will be a yes. The amendment is a yes. The bill will be a yes.
Okay, Ashley.
I was just gonna add, I think Richard's before me, but it goes Richard and then myself for Republicans. I don't know how you're going to vote, Richard, so I'm not gonna put you in that position, but I will also be voting just like Patty. So if you don't remember this conversation in 10 minutes, just kind of follow. Yeah, just
Richard has
follow that.
Yeah. Lynn.
You have Eric, explain what he's gonna say.
Yeah, just,
So don't remember itself, it's pretty short.
yeah. But just briefly, when enacted in 2018, the raise the age had two steps. Step one, to raise the age to 18 for use to be subject to juvenile proceedings in the family division. That step went into effect in 2022 and remains in law to this day. Step two of raise the age was extended even further to add 19-year-olds to jurisdiction of the family division. Step two was originally slated to go into effect in 2022, but the effective date has been delayed several times by the legislation and is scheduled to go into effect in just under 3 weeks on April 1st. My amendment proposes to preserve step one, so 18-year-olds remain in the family division, and to sunset step two, so 19-year-olds remain where they currently are in the criminal division. Just quick out of, I gotta put down a couple other notes. Hang on one second.
So this, you received this email with the amendment from Nigel in your email. He's not finished, so.
Yeah, just quickly, it's not a repeal of the raise the age. And in doing so, as Zach had mentioned, it's unconstitutional because the 18-year-olds have already been benefited from the original law. What this does is just sunset a piece of the original bill that has already been delayed by the legislation for the third time. And the fact of the matter, it's pure common sense. Unfortunately, there's a flip side to all of this that I don't think people are understanding. When you raise the age of criminal responsibility, it undermines accountability. It actually, puts public safety measures into place. It adds to recidivism. I've been doing this for a long time. This is a dangerous slope that we're going down, a very, very dangerous slope. And it doesn't weaken deterrent effects. All it does is increase recidivism. Because what it says to an 18-year-old is, I can continue to do what I'm doing with no accountability and no measurements. Do I believe there needs to be measurements put into place that helps with, that criminal behavior, applying different investments into the rehabilitative process? Absolutely. But to turn around and say, well, just send them through family court is not just a conducive approach. And we are going to see public safety go up. We're going to see crime go up. We're recognizing it now. We see what's going on through the state, how, what they're using in regards to younger individuals to traffic. And I got no problem saying that because it's the truth and we all see it. This is absurd. And they're fear mongering over there saying, well, the brain develops. Yes, I agree with that. I've read the literature on both sides. This is common sense. And never mind. I'm done.
Save the rest of them.
Yeah.
Did I read somewhere that we're the only state that treats 18-year-olds as juveniles? Everybody else is 17 or even lower.
I think Massachusetts is the same.
No,
Massachusetts, no?
they're at 18.
I know that if we go to 19, we would be the only one in the nation.
Right.
Oh, my God.
If we go to 19, we would be the exception.
So we maybe want
And
to.
if we hit 20, we'd be the first.
Year old. and kids.
And mind you, just one additional point that I want to make, and not to beat a dead horse, but hearing from our Democratic colleagues on the committee, brain science literature says that the brain is not fully developed until 25. So you can imagine what they would be proposing if, once this is delayed and, in future legislation.
I know, great.
Any other questions? No other questions?